So the first thing is you have to go and download Microsoft Visual Studio from Microsoft.com. So go to google.com and search for Microsoft Visual Studio 2010. Now, because I'm recording this video in the year of 2011, so the latest version is 2010, but it is possible that you can have 2012, you can have 2014, whatever it is. So there shouldn't be too much difference if you're seeing this video in other versions also. So go now, currently, because as I said that I am on 2010, I'm going to go and click on 2010 free download, and that should take up to you can see that there is something called as a trial download here from Microsoft.com. Don't look at the other sites like we have download cnet.in or Softpedia. Forget about those links. Let's go to the main vendor, that is Microsoft.com. So let's click on that, and if you click on this site, you should see a download link from where you can go and download the trial version of 2010. Now remember that Visual Studio comes in 2 or 3 different flavors. One is basically now this one is a paid version. Okay, so in case you want to take only the free version, then they have something called as the Express edition. So you can search for Microsoft 2010 Express, and again you should be redirected to the Microsoft site. You can see that, and you can go and download Microsoft 2010 Express edition. So depending on you can either take the trial version, that is a paid version trial, or you can either take the free version. But now when you're taking up the free version, one important point to note is there are lots of variations in the free version, you can see. Okay, so and because this whole tutorial is on Csharp, so what I would suggest is you can go and download the Visual Csharp 2010 Express edition. Okay, so the first thing is you have to download either Microsoft Visual Studio Express or Microsoft Visual Studio Professional or Ultimate Edition in your PC. Now once you have installed Microsoft Visual Studio, go to your Start Program Files, and you can see the Microsoft Visual Studio menu in your Start Program Files. So let's click on this menu here, and let's start the program Microsoft Visual Studio 2010, and let's write our first Hello World program using the command line application. Now in order to create a program in Microsoft Visual Studio, the first step what you have to do is that you have to go and create a project. Okay, so let's not go into other details for now. You can see that there are lots of links here, there are lots of recent projects and a lot of things here, a lot of menus here, but don't get confused by all these links at this moment. For now, let's click on this file over here, let's click on new, and let's create a project. As I said that in order to create an application, or in order to create a software program using Microsoft Visual Studio and C# and .NET, you need to create a project. So let's go ahead and first create a project. So let's click on new project here. Now once you do a file new project, you can see that you can create various kinds of application in Visual Studio. You can create a Windows Form application, you can create a console application. If you see at the left hand side, there is something called as web. You can create a web application. So when I say you can create different kinds of application, for example, for instance, you can see Skype is a Windows application, right? And if you go to your command prompt, like telnet is a command line application. Okay, because this runs inside the console application. You can see now telnet running. In the same way, if you go to your Facebook, now that is a web application, right? So in other words, you can create different kinds of application, and the new project, when we say that we're going to create a new project, you have to define that what kind of application you have to create. So for now, what we will do is we are going to select the console application, and we'll say this is, or I'll say my first program, and let me click on OK. Now you can see over here the first thing, when you create a new project, you'll see some kind of a sample code over here. Now really don't worry on the sample code, don't try to understand on the first instance itself, what is the use of using, what is the use of namespace, what is the use of class, don't worry on all these things. For now, just assume that this program starts running from this static void main. In other words, when you actually go and write some code into this program, right, it will start from this place, static void main. It will enter from this place, it will start executing the code between these curly brackets, and then it will actually go and end after the curly brackets. So for now, don't worry about the other part of the code. So what we'll do is let's go ahead and write a simple hello world code over here. Now in order to write a simple hello world code, you have to say console. Why console? Because this is a console, right? So you have to say console control space, so that because it's C# is what you call, it's a it's a case sensitive language. So if you type the C small, for example, you can see over here, if I type the C small, it will not recognize your command. So you have to ensure that your C is, you know, as per the commands, right, is as per the syntaxes. So what you the way you do in Visual Studio is you type console and then you say tab and then say dot right line, okay, bracket start. This is my first program. So what I'm saying here is that, okay, start right, you know, write to the console a very simple sentence. This is my first program. So when I say console, I'm going to say this black prompt here. Okay, so I'm going to go and build this. As we said in the previous part of the lessons, you know, basically whenever you write a program, it has to be built to the binary. Okay, it has to be built, right? So I have to go and build this application. I have to compile this application. So you can see on the top there is something called as a build solution. So I'm going to go and build the solution. We're going to come later into these different terminologies, like what exactly is a solution, what exactly is a project. Don't worry for now, just go ahead and try to execute this project. Okay, and in order to run the program, you can see that there is a green button over here saying F5, or what you can do is you can press the control button and you can say control F5. So I'll just do a control F5 here, and you can now see my first program running successfully. So I hope that you have enjoyed this video. In this video, we were trying to see that how we can run our first Hello World program using Microsoft Visual Studio, C# and .NET.